Wow, big mouse.
I can be your hero, baby. I can... Is it kiss away or take away?
I don't know, you tell me.
I can take away the pain.
Oh, yeah.
I can stand by you forever.
That's terrible.
Demonetized.
Demonetized.
Copyright strike.
Everyone unsubscribes.
Because I sound just like him.
I wouldn't go that far. You want to do the intro? Welcome back to the channel.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. If you're watching this the day it comes out, if you're not, happy whatever day it is. That's how you start your streams, so I thought I would keep it going.
I'm going to release this shit on a Thursday.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Oh, tell me I'm wrong.
You're sleeping on the couch.
No.
Anyway, we're back to do our 2023 top 5 movies and bottom 5 movies.
Best and worst movies of 2023. 23. Trying to make sure I was doing it backwards so it was right.
You're special, huh? It's been a pretty good year for movies, I think, overall. There's definitely some stinkers, which we'll get to that in the bottom 5. We're going to do this all in one giant video. So, appreciate you sticking around. Make sure you like, subscribe. Really appreciate that. It helps out the channel and helps us with the algorithm. And commenting as well.
I feel like, I mean, even disliking helps, but I feel like there were...
Just like her video.
No, I'm just saying when people dislike, like, I don't like it, it still helps the video.
and if you dislike it, I appreciate you too.
I'm not saying to dislike the video, I'm just saying when people are like,
this video sucks.
petty disliking, it still helps.
We're going to do ladies first. You're going to give your first number 5. I'll do my number 5. We'll talk about them a little bit.
My first number 5.
Okay, we're going to start at number 5 and then work our way up. She'll go first, I'll go second. And then we'll talk about them. We're going to do spoilers. So spoiler warning now. I'll throw it up on the screen here. You've been warned.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I have the order that I actually want. I don't know. I feel like it can be fluid, but we're just going to put it in order because he's making me. Number 5, Super Mario Brothers. That movie was just really good. It incorporated everything from everything Mario, but in a good way. It's the one video game to movie adaptation that I've seen that's really done well. I don't have any complaints except for one, which I'll get to. But they put all of the games into the movie. They have Mario Kart, Rainbow Road, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. They've got Princess Peach. They didn't have like Daisy or what's her name? The star one. They don't have Rosalina. But my biggest disappointment was that they didn't have Yoshi. I feel like he's a pretty big... They had toads in there, which I just figured out they're called toads because they're toadstool. They're not mushrooms. But they had the toads. They didn't have Yoshi. That could have been really good. I feel like Yoshi could have added to the movie. That's my one complaint.
Maybe they're doing that as like something to do in a sequel.
I wouldn't mind a sequel. Like I said, it was good. Jack Black did amazing. They had him sing. It was really good. They incorporated the music from all of the Mario things, and it wasn't in a cheesy way. Like, they subtly kind of put it in, and it was really good. What else? The voice acting was good. Chris Pratt did amazing. Seth Rogen also was voice acting. He was Donkey Kong, but it was funny. Peach was in it, but not in an overbearing way. Mario was still very much the focus, but she did have a big role. Luigi was kind of more of a side character, and I feel like he was more trying to save Luigi than Peach, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was really well done, and they incorporated everything really, really well. And I was pleasantly surprised because that wasn't a movie that I was like, oh, I really want to go see this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised with how well done it was.
We're not like big Nintendo people. Like we're kind of both PlayStation.
He speaks for himself.
I'm a PlayStation guy. I grew up on
I
PlayStation
played both.
1, 2. I never had a Nintendo my whole life. I've had friends that have had Nintendo, but I never had it. I was always a PlayStation guy. It was
So when I
not Sonic. It was Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
mentioned like some of the stuff in there, did you like get it?
Yeah, I mean, I have played Mario since, like, you know, I have had friends who are big, like, Nintendo people, and, like, when I was in the Navy or on the ship or whatever, they have, like, they had the Nintendo Switch, and they let me play it for a little bit. I have played Mario games, and they're actually quite fun. But
he thought he knew me, and I'm like, oh, hold on a second there.
Whoa.
That's another thing. There's some stuff in there that they put in that you will know if you are a Mario fan and you've played the games. I did play the games. Like my grandma actually, she wasn't like a big gamer, but she liked games. Like she played Tetris. She had a GameCube. So I would go over there and play Mario all the time.
Yeah.
I had a Game Boy. I wasn't big on the Game Boy, but I would go play the GameCube. I would play Mario Party. I would play Super Mario Brothers. I loved it. I love playing Mario. So I played. I'm definitely a PlayStation person, but I did play Nintendo stuff too. Like I did play Mario, played Mario Kart, played Mario Party. So sorry, but
no, it's okay. I think maybe more from I enjoyed the movie quite a lot as well. It's not my number 5, but I think more as like someone who's more of a kind of casual Mario person. Like I know about it. I don't know everything about the lore and like the world and everything. I still enjoy the movie as well. I still thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think it's good, but if you do like Mario, then there's like things there like, oh, that's from here, and oh, that's from there, and oh, this, that, this. Because they kind of, like I said, subtly put stuff in there, and you're like, oh, I got it.
Yeah. That was good.
And they included the original, which I actually didn't know. The original version of Mario in the movie at the very end.
Yep, I noticed. My number 5 was Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. I play a lot. I've kind of gotten the last couple of years. I've gotten into D&D, so I've kind of had a few sessions. Play Baldur's Gate 3, which is also based off of the D&D. I think D&D's. I think it's 5 or something like that. But I love the movie. Chris Pine did such a great job. Michelle Rodriguez, I think that's her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she does a great job as a barbarian character. If you know anything about D&D, I think you'll really enjoy this movie quite a lot. If you're maybe more of a casual person, kind of on the same vein with like, I'm not necessarily a big Mario person, but I know a little bit about it. If you know a little bit about D&D, you'll probably enjoy this movie too. I think it struck a good balance between the hardcore fans and like the casual enjoyers of like some like movies. Very entertaining. I thought it was pretty heartfelt. It has like a good story with like, it has like the main, like, you know how like you're doing, like you play a video game, you do like the main quest, and as you're going to do the main quest, a couple side quests pop up at the same time.
You run into a random person.
Yeah, you run into a random person and you want to do a side quest.
Go get this bag of daisies for me.
Yeah, and here's 15 XP. That's kind of what happens in the movie. I like that it's a little bit chaotic like that because that's how a words are hard. That's how a D&D session goes sometimes, and I really enjoy that.
Do you think it was on purpose? You think it
I
was chaotic on purpose?
I think it was, and I'm okay with that. They have the movie kind of came out around the same time actually as Mario, and so I don't think it did as well in the box office. So they've talked about maybe not doing a sequel to it.
I think if they did though, it might be more successful because of Baldur's Gate and how successful it's been and how many people play it. Because people who don't necessarily play D&D might be playing Baldur's Gate. And they're like, oh, this is awesome. So maybe because Baldur's Gate 3 is like directly connected with Dungeons and Dragons, maybe they would want to go see the movie more.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it even before, because I saw it before I played Baldur's Gate, but now I want to rewatch it because I think I will enjoy it even more knowing what I know. Like,
you'll get more of the references.
Chris Pine's being a bard.
Yeah.
It was on point. Like, he plays a bard in my playthrough of Baldur's Gate, and it was just super on point.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. Actually has heart to it, and yeah, I hope they do make a sequel. I maybe see like maybe a different character or something like that. Maybe like a paladin type movie, like D&D movie around a paladin. Maybe a druid.
Oh, I would.
And,
the druid would be cool because
yeah,
they could talk to animals.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of a cool experience for movies, like especially in that kind of universe.
I'm biased. I like druids. I am a druid.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's my number 5.
Number 4. You know, they do like countdowns, and she's like,
I'll throw something over.
4.
Number 4.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I sound like 3 points away from the tism.
All right, my number 4 is, it's confusing because I have 3 sequels on my list and the numbers are not with my numbers. They don't match up. Okay, my number 4 is Extraction 2 with my boy Chris Hemsworth.
Is it?
Who's not...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we have the same number 4.
My number 4 also is Extraction 2, so...
Oh, perfect. So Chris Hemsworth, not playing Thor, still doing great. Actually better than the 3rd Thor movie because they really messed that up, which really hurt my feelings. Because Thor is my favorite superhero from Marvel, and it's really sad that they messed him up. Anyways, back to Extraction 2. The movie's great. The action scenes are great. The really long one-shot fight scene on the train is great. And it feels like a video game cutscene when you're in the middle of a battle and then you have a cutscene before you start doing more battling. That's what it felt like the whole time. Like, if you want a video game to movie adaptation of an action game, that would be how to do it. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, people just can't get it right when they adapt video games, except for Super Mario Brothers. So that it was really good. The his 2 friends, well, kind of girlfriend and friend,
supporting characters.
They're really good. They're great actresses. The kid that you're supposed to not like did a good job of making me not like him. The little girl, and it was super cute. Like, her and Chris had a cute little like relationship in the movie where he was protecting her, and she kind of seemed like she was starting to like him and look up to him a little bit, and knew that he was going to protect her. And it was just great action and sadness, and well, it was just a good action movie.
Yeah, I agree too. I think the pacing of this movie was perfect. Like, I didn't get bored at all through the whole movie. And they my favorite scene is the kind of like at the beginning where it's like the prison, not necessarily right at the beginning, but it's pretty close to the front. And it starts in the prison break and then goes into the train fight, which is all filmed as if it's one take. I love those kind of shots. I wish more movies would do that. Especially this was really well done.
Like 1917.
1917.
I
love that movie so much. And it's a World War I movie. It does such a great job. But yeah, Chris Hemsworth does such a great job. I'm glad to see that he's actually doing other roles now, and he's not just living off of like the Thor name recognition.
I'm so glad they made him live.
Yeah, I think he did such a great job. They definitely set it up for a sequel, which I'm all on board for. I think Extraction 2, I don't know how you feel about this. I think Extraction 2 is actually better than the first Extraction.
I'd have to rewatch.
No.
I'd have to rewatch to kind of see how I feel at the end of both of them. Because I'm sure I would be like, oh yeah, that one was better. Maybe next year we'll get a 3rd one.
Yeah, I think you can definitely see the budget was more for this movie than the first one. And visually I'm not saying the bad one was the first. No, sorry.
the bad one.
Sorry. I'm not saying the first Extraction was bad, but like you can tell it definitely had a lot less of a budget than this one, because they weren't sure how that first one was going to do. This one definitely had a bigger budget. You can see it with the action scenes and how like some of the visuals were shot and stuff like that. And I think the environment was cool. It's filmed, I think, supposed to take place in like Georgia, which is south of Russia, if you know a map. And then it also goes over to Austria, which I think is really cool. I like how they kind of did the story this time, I was kind of curious how they were going to do it when they came out, because it's actually about him rescuing his sister-in-law and her kids, ex-sister-in-law, and
but it wasn't a continuation of the first story. It was like its own.
Yeah.
It was it was a little bit like they showed him after the first one,
mm-hmm.
where you don't know if he was gonna survive, but then it was a whole new story.
Yeah.
And then Idris Elba comes in at the end. He's like, "Hey, my boss has a job for you," and he's like, "Who's your boss?" And he's like, "The powerful guy."
No, I think he says a wicked motherfucker.
Well, something along those lines.
No, a gnarly motherfucker.
They're totally setting up for a third one.
I'm for it. I think they're good.
I actually picked watching Extraction in the first place, so you're welcome.
Yeah, you did, actually. Yeah. Every once in a while, Blind Squirrel finds a nut. So, good job.
Number 3. Okay, so... Sorry, mine aren't already in order.
Nerd.
Oh, number 3, John Wick 4.
That's 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
That was a great movie.
It was a great movie. That's why it's in my top 5. And remember, I said these can be fluid.
No,
okay?
A list is a list.
It's a list, but it's not necessarily set in stone for me. Okay, I'm just kind of...
No.
I on the fly, put them in order, trying to think, like... I don't know. I like John Wick a lot, but I also like... There was more story in John Wick 4
mm-hmm.
than the other ones. But I don't know. It's just, like, super focused on the fighting, and it's, again, really good. But my other movies that I like have more of, like, story? I don't know.
You got words? I don't know what the hand signals mean.
I feel like John Wick is more, like, fighting and killing than story. So, that's why.
I mean, if you're into, like, if you're more into, like, story-based movies, then yeah. Okay.
Which I like John Wick 4 a lot. It was really good. And this one had more of a story. However, I feel like, again, it's mostly focused on the killing and fighting. So, like I said, more story in this one. Probably like the first one. Second one, I don't remember at all. Third one, I kind of remember. But it's got the same amount kind of like storyline as the first one. So I really liked that. And the fight scenes were really good still. And it was just another great sequel. I have 3 sequels on my list, which is surprising.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Because sequels don't always do well, but
I got 3.
There were really good sequels this year, and John Wick 4 did not disappoint. Keanu Reeves, great. I still kind of wish we had background on like the organization or whatever it's called. What is it called?
I think Google it.
Anyways, whatever he worked for.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I kind of wish I knew how it started and like all the information. I know you think it's good to be mysterious. I like knowing stuff. But it was just really good. Another great John Wick. One of the best ones that they've done. And I would definitely recommend it if you like John Wick and you like a lot of action and killing and stuff like that.
So, my number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Really love this movie.
Hold on. That's my number 1.
That's your number 1?
That's my number 1.
Okay, well, now we know your number 1. So, okay, so you want to talk about it now, then?
I guess so.
Okay. So, I really liked Chris Pratt. I think he's probably my favorite actors out right now. Basically, any movie I don't know how you feel about it. Basically, any movie he's in, I'm going to go watch just because I like him as an actor and I want to go out and support his work.
He's definitely versatile. He obviously plays a funny part very well, but then he can also do serious ones like The Terminal List.
Terminal List, Zero Dark 30, he's also great in that. That's actually how he got the role for Terminal List, is from the movie Zero Dark 30.
And he does serious parts in Guardians of the Galaxy, along with being funny.
Yeah.
But it's not really focused on him as much as it is on Rocket and his backstory. And holy moly, if you have not seen this movie,
or read the comics too,
get ready to cry. And a lot. Not just cry at the end, you're gonna cry throughout the whole thing. I was just so emotional to the whole thing. The whole thing is just one big ball of sadness, but also funny. and good and actiony.
Would you say it's like a roller coaster? A lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Yes. When we were leaving, this lady said, "I didn't expect to cry that much."
Oh Jesus.
It was, but the second one always makes me cry too, with
The second one.
the blue guy.
Oh
name?
yeah,
What's his
yeah,
name?
the Mary Poppins guy. I can't
The
think
one
of
that's like his dad, basically.
Yeah.
Not Mary Poppins. Oh God. Sad. I don't know what it is. Guardians of the Galaxy is hilarious and great, but they make me cry. Not the first one, but the second and third one make me cry. Anyways, Rocket's story. Poor little raccoon just getting tested, and then all his friends get killed. And
Jesus, that's all right. Spoiler alert. There, no, I was kidding.
we said
I know, joking.
spoilers.
I know.
But it's just, it shows you how Rocket became Rocket, and it's just a sad little story about a raccoon.
That and like the pacing's really good in the movie. I think overall, the acting. I don't think there was any bad actors. I couldn't at least remember one that was actually bad in the movie. So Dave Bautista's Drax is always good. He does such a good job for that role. Zoe Saldana, basically the girl, the woman.
That's an S. Sal, not Zell.
Sal Saldana, who plays Gamora. I don't know. I'm not great with words. You should know this. Anybody who watches the channels knows this. She plays Gamora. She does a great job in that too. I like the fact not only is it about like Rocket and like his backstory, but it's also kind of going back into Gamora and Star-Lord's relationship and how like he's got to basically start all over again. But it's different. It is different than the first time, which I think is good. They explore a couple of different themes like that.
It's a different her.
Yeah.
It's a different version of her.
So, I'm not normally a big fan of like multiverse stuff. I think it's kind of a cheap way of doing writing, but I think it works for this particular one because it ties back into Infinity War and stuff like that, which I think that was really good.
It's definitely heavily focused on Rocket, though.
Yeah, and I think he does a great job.
And then the end, it's kind of like they kind of separate to go find themselves, and there's like a new Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's like a good tie-up, but it's also sad because you love the Guardians of the Galaxy, and
I think
they're just different now.
I think that's probably one of my favorite franchises, at least in the MCU. Especially since the end of Endgame. I don't think maybe Spider-Man and Guardians are the only two I ever got excited for. But yeah, I think it was a good tie-up. I think it was a good way to send everybody off. I think it wraps everything up. Everyone's storylines from the previous movies wraps them all up. And visually, it's a good movie. It looks great. Soundtrack's phenomenal.
I will say that they do give a good ending to Star-Lord. He goes back to his grandpa. And they say he's coming back, so there's going to be another movie with Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I don't know if it's going to be based on him on Earth, or how they're going to do that, but there is another one coming.
I hope it's not a Disney Plus show.
Oh, I hope so too.
You want one? You want it to be Disney Plus?
You said I hope it's not. I said I hope so too.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I also wish they would have, maybe for like Thor 3, since that sucked, had Thor and Guardians together because I thought they were so awesome. Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt are awesome. They have great chemistry. They're hilarious. So I think that would have been really good. I wish they would have kept them together a little bit longer than in was it Infinity War
or Endgame?
Yeah, I wish they would have done it longer because I loved seeing that, and it would have been so much better than what they did for Thor 3. But, you know.
But I think overall, I think it was a really good movie. Honestly, I don't think there's any other MCU movies coming out that I want to see now.
Well,
I think Guardians was like the last one on my list that I really wanted to watch, and I think they did a good job of like.
There's gonna be more Spider-Man movies, and I will go see those.
Well
I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's so good.
Tobey Maguire is better though, but it's fine.
Got my filming face on. Don't do a smolder.
But yeah, I think Guardians of the 3 is a really good movie if you want to watch like something that's post-Endgame, post-Infinity War. I think that's probably one of the better like movies of the MCU that's come out since then.
Still the feel of the old MCU.
Yeah. Because that's basically a shell of its former self now. But yeah.
It's my number one because it's amazing. Funny, sad, actiony, everything. Everything in one.
Yeah, it was really well done. I even got a little emotional. I don't cry because, well, I just don't cry. But,
there's a tiny little
that's-
trickle.
People who don't cry, that's like psychopaths.
Tiny little trickle down the cheek.
It was, but then I sucked it back in. Imagine if that was my superpower. To be able to do that, I can suck my tears back in.
I exited out of my list.
Oh no! But yeah, that's my my number 3. So
and my number 1.
Yes. So now you're number 2.
Numero dos. Dungeons and Dragons, which you already talked about. I didn't really add anything because I knew it was coming up. But everything that he said, and I did add some stuff. Yeah, now that I play Baldur's Gate, I appreciate it even more and want to rewatch it, and I hope there's a sequel. It does a really good job of showing the different classes and like them going on their quest and side quests, and there's comedy and action and some family drama with Chris Pine and his daughter, and it's just really good. I liked it. It was a good movie, and you know.
I think the CGI was really good too.
I don't feel like I pay as much attention to that stuff as you do.
Yeah, I just noticed it because like you can tell like good quality CGI versus bad if like you've watched enough of that kind of stuff.
You say that a lot, but I'm just like, oh, I didn't even.
You're
like, oh, that CGI sucked. I'm like, oh, did it?
Yeah, I'm like, sheesh, they spent like $10 on like that CGI. Like, what's going on?
But I enjoyed it. So it's my number 2, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe I put it above the other ones because it has, again, kind of like Guardians, has a mixture of a lot of things.
Mm.
There's action, comedy, adventure, and stuff like that, and I really like fantasy type stuff too, so I enjoyed it a lot.
I hope they do make a sequel. Like I said, I think it was good enough. I think it does deserve a sequel. I don't want them to rush one out. I want it to be like thought out. Like I thought this one was exactly in like line with like how a D&D like session may go, where you have like the dungeon master kind of give you like the main quest, kind of like dangling the carrot, and then at the same time side quests. You know, like stuff starts popping up as you're trying to get to the main quest.
I don't think I was even really excited to go see that movie.
No, you were not.
But I liked it.
I dragged you to it.
You didn't drag me.
I had to tie her up, put her in the trunk. It looked like a crime scene.
I don't know, I was probably even less excited to go see Mario, but I really liked that too.
Yeah. Mario was good. And I think Dungeons & Dragons also, I was excited for, but I was also cautious. Because, there was like the whole thing with like, did they make, Chris Pine's character weak and the female strong? But then
He's a bard.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was like, when you actually watch the movie, and if you know anything about D&D, Michelle Rodriguez is playing the barbarian. The barbarian is generally like the fighter, like more of the tanky type person of the group.
Always
and she does
plays stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's like, how like Keanu Reeves is kind of like niche. I feel like that's kind of like
she
her
is too,
niche.
for sure.
She does a really good job at it.
You will never see her playing a feminine role.
I don't remember. I don't recall one.
Yeah.
But I think she does a great job, though.
And that's, like, she's good for a barbarian.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, too, is, like, people were assuming that, but if you don't know anything about D&D, that's what you would hear. But if you know anything about D&D and you actually start watching a movie and you're like, oh, he's playing a bard, she's a barbarian, then you know that he's not going to be as strong as she is, because that's just not how, like, the characters are set up in the game.
Yeah, he's a bard. He plays music.
He distracts people. Like, he does, like, his bard his bard character was really good.
Yeah, and
I really liked it a lot.
His charisma. He was supposed to have charisma, like probably high charisma.
Yeah, he's got that high riz. I got it in there.
All right. Well, I already did. Oh, you have to do your number 2.
Yeah. So my number 2.
I did my number 1 already.
Yeah, my number 2 was John Wick 4. And I know yours was. I know it was 3 for you, but to me, I thought it was probably my second favorite John Wick. Number one is always the first movie of John Wick is always gonna be my favorite, just because like
The saddest.
I didn't. It was sad, but it also was just a really good. You knew what it was. It was a revenge story. It was great, and there's something special about the first one to me. Number four, though, I think does such a great job. I think it leapfrogs into second place, and it does such a great job with the fight scenes. The choreography is really good. I think the pacing of the movie is really good. There's like the music throughout the movie it flows perfectly. I think.
I think they did a good job of adding story because I feel like I remember thinking John Wick doesn't have as much of a story. It's more just fight. And they did a good job adding that into the fourth one.
Yeah, I know you were like, I want to know more about like the organization. I like the mystery of that because it allows them to basically kind of leave it vague enough so like as they make more movies they can explore more and there's a little bit of that curiosity. Whereas it's like the High Table is actually the name.
The Table.
The Table.
And then I think the High Table is like...
Yeah, the High Table and then the Table. But I like the fact that it's kind of a mystery.
Or it's both.
Yeah. So I like the fact that it is mysterious. They don't just... Like some movies they do that where they just give you a whole bunch of exposition, explain everything to you. Like you're dumb. And I like, even for an action movie that doesn't do that, it respects you, and it wants you to leave a little mystery, words.
A mystery.
Mystery.
Stop!
But but I think it does a good job of like having that kind of mystery in there, and I like that kind of stuff. I think I'm big into firearms, so I'm like watching, like looking at the firearms they're using. The fight choreography with the firearms is really good. I like my favorite scene in that whole movie is the top-down action scene with him with the shotgun, where he's going in from room to room, but you're seeing it from the top-down perspective, which I thought was so cool. And I don't think I've ever seen that.
I remember that.
I don't think I've ever seen that done in any movie ever, and it does such a great job.
Someone's gonna be in the comments talking about a movie that does it.
Yeah, if you know a movie like that, please comment down below because I'll watch that.
What if they do a movie, like a prequel, showing you how the High Table was created and the story behind it?
I think they're working on a TV show, but it's going to be actually about the hotel.
Oh.
So I don't know. I haven't seen anything on it. I just know that that's in the works. So maybe I think there's a trailer out. I'm personally just going to stick with the movies. I think the movies do such a great job. And, you know, I feel like that's kind of like going to like Disney Plus route where they take like a movie or a character from, fair, but it's like, I just like the movies. I'll stick with there.
Like you liked The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's not based off of a movie character. That's like on some standalone thing.
Well, you think the hotel is going to be about John?
No.
Exactly.
But it's going to have I forget the guy's name who's like...
Yeah, but they took the Star Wars world and made a show around specifically the Mandalorian. Now they're taking the John Wick world and making it about the hotel.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Okay. But, I think there's really nothing bad I have to say about this movie. I loved everything about it, and they left it open for, well, they kind of left it like kind of mysterious where you don't really know.
Is he alive?
You kind of speculate, but I think that, like, if they were to end it right there, I think that was a really good series of movies. If they add another one, I'm going to go see it, because I love the series.
It's like the end of Extraction.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I think that's like Netflix's version of, like, Extraction is like their version of John Wick.
No.
To me it is.
No, not even close.
Well, not to the same level, but
like,
I think it's like their version of having like a...
Maybe Terminal List, not John Wick.
Agree to disagree.
It's closer to Terminal List.
Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, your number one?
Oh, boy.
I mean, you've pretty much said what you want to say about it, but it's your number one, though?
Yeah, I'm just mentally preparing for you to talk about that one. Okay, but yes, so my number one, I've already said what I need to say, so I guess you can take over to talk about yours.
Well.
For 30 minutes.
This one. Was not expecting anything. I didn't expect this movie at all. It kind of falls in the same thing that happened to me last year, where there was a movie that came out way late in the year when I heard nothing about it all year, basically. I started hearing some talks and some things that are coming out. And I saw the original trailer for it. My number one is Godzilla minus one. The movie, I honestly heard about this movie about a month before it came out, and I'm a big Godzilla fan. I know people are going to cringe and disagree with me, but I still think I love the 2014 American Godzilla, and I have started watching some of the older ones now because of that. But I think Godzilla minus one is actually my number one Godzilla movie of all time. I think the monster looks great. The actual human characters, which is something that I think a lot of monster movies struggle with. I think this movie probably has done the best I've ever seen, where it makes you care about the characters, what they're going through. I think it does a good job of making Godzilla just be the villain, and just there's nothing they can do. And I think it's a great job.
He kind of looks like, because you said you like how he looked, and I was looking him up earlier. It kind of looks like a T-Rex with a tiny head.
Yeah, so I think what they try to do. So let me just get into it a little bit. So the one thing I like about this movie a lot is the fact that they do focus on the human characters and you care about them. So the main character of this movie, the main protagonist, it starts during World War II. He's a kamikaze pilot, and when they send him out to do his mission, basically, which is going to try to find a ship and crash into it, he basically fakes that his ship is something's wrong mechanically. He lands on an island with other Japanese soldiers. They start trying to fix it. They realize, hey, this guy didn't, there's nothing wrong with this plane, actually, come to find out. But while he's there on the island waiting, Godzilla shows up, and I think what they're trying to do is make Godzilla look like he's just been hiding, but he's like the last of the dinosaurs.
He's a dinosaur?
I think so. I think that's what they were trying to do, because they don't explain where he comes from. But he's just out in the ocean. But he comes to this one particular island
So you think they kind of did his origin different?
I think so. I think this one is kind of like a reboot of the whole thing, and it does such a great job. But when they originally, the first time you see Godzilla, he looks big, but he's not
like a T-Rex big.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a T-Rex big, maybe a little bit bigger. But I felt like he was. To me, I was like, oh, he's kind of small.
Godzilla.
For Godzilla, he's kind of small in this one, but he's still wrecked shop there. And then basically World War II ends. The United States starts testing in Bikini Atoll, and that's kind of where Godzilla lives, because he starts. It shows there's a scene where it shows Godzilla basically they detonate a nuke and Godzilla's basically underneath it, under the water, and he starts getting irradiated, and then.
He's given a mushroom from Mario.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And the next time you see him, he is so much larger than the first time. And they do two things I think I've never seen in a Godzilla movie before, which is his atomic breath was fantastic. It was amazing. It's like a fucking laser beam. Sorry, I cursed. I'll bleep that out. But it's like a laser beam. And then wherever it kind of lands, it just detonates like an atomic bomb, which I thought was so cool. So as it's shooting the laser, he's shooting laser beam, it's pushing everyone forward, and as the bomb detonates, it explodes and it pushes everyone back, which I thought was a really cool effect. You gotta see it for that scene alone. It's really awesome the first time they do that.
I don't like watching foreign films.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, I just don't like hearing it in another language and then having to read. I like subtitles, but I don't like when they're speaking another language and I have to read the subtitles.
I forgot to mention, it is a foreign film, so it is all in Japanese. English subtitles at the bottom. If I'm an adult, so I put my big boy pants on and I can watch that stuff. So, it doesn't bother me. But I think they do a really good job with atomic breath, and then they kind of gave him a power that I haven't seen Godzilla have before, which is basically he can regenerate, which I thought was such a cool concept, because it was they kind of set it up for he's not
a lizard.
You can kind of like a lizard and then they set it up in a way that you can only defeat him for so long because he will come back, and I think that's kind of a cool concept of how they do that. And
why do I feel like we talked about something regenerating recently, like a lizard?
I think it was because of Godzilla.
But I don't think we were talking about that one.
I don't remember.
Was it in the show?
Not on the show, no. They don't have it in the show. The Monarch show is pretty good too, though. But yeah, this Godzilla, I think he looks fantastic. They made this entire movie on about a $17 million budget, and the CGI looks good. The acting's really good. The main character, he comes back from like World War II from the island and having seen Godzilla, kind of messed up about that and having PTSD from the war, and then like his whole country, like people in his like where he lives, they're all gone, or dead, and like there's like his neighbor who's like giving him a hard time because like he didn't do what his duty, which was be a kamikaze pilot, and so he's living as like with the mentality of like people are blaming me for being a failure, and I think that it tackles that kind of issue pretty well. But
So, like, showing that, I mean, it's a Japanese movie, but showing the Japanese culture.
yeah, maybe like
Like, old.
yeah, like the old way of thinking. I honestly I think the right after World War II, I think that's such an interesting time in history that I don't think gets explored enough, and especially like Japanese culture, like post World War II, is such an interesting time to me. That's something I've been learning about for the last couple of years, and I think it's very interesting and stuff like that. And this movie does a great job of kind of being in that time frame, which interests me enough. And then he also meets like this woman who has a child that's not hers because she found the child. She's assumed that her parents of the child died. All of her family is basically gone. The main character's family is basically all gone, and people around him blame him for not doing his duty, and that's why they lost the war, which I think is like such a deep topic. But I care about these characters a lot. They did a really good job with that. But yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. It is a foreign film. It is really, really good though, and I hope they make a sequel. However, bottom 5.
Well, hold on. I don't have enough for bottom 5.
What do you have? Bottom 3?
But I listed some movies that I enjoyed, but didn't make it into my top 5 because I was going through the whole list of 2023, and I was like, ooh, and I started listing the movies that I remembered liking, but then I made my top 5, but I think these are good honorable mentions. The Meg 2, another sequel that I enjoyed. It's a shark movie, and it was entertaining. It was funny. It was fun. So I really liked it. My friend, we went on a double date, and my friend really liked it too. We loved it. It was hilarious. And yeah, it's cheesy, but it's a shark movie.
If you don't know, Jess is like obsessed with shark movies.
I love shark movies. I did watch quite a few of the Sharknado movies. I was like, they're stupid, but it's funny. But I really enjoyed The Meg too. If you want some good, lighthearted fun, I would watch it. And it's got Jason Statham. Like, he's awesome. No Hard Feelings, really funny. It was a good movie. He didn't really want to see it, and we watched it because I wanted to. He ended up liking it. Sound of Freedom, really sad, true. Everybody should watch that movie.
It's a heavy movie.
It is, but it's really good, and it's like really eye-opening. Oppenheimer, it was really good. I feel like it was too long. It could have been cut down a little bit because I started getting bored. I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's still going. And then they got to another part. I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested again. But I started to get bored, and then they brought me back.
I think with that movie, too, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. If you know anything about his style movies, they're generally pretty long. Even I like that kind of topic. Like Oppenheimer, I still felt that movie was too long. That's why I didn't make it on my list, is because actually, if they would maybe cut like 30 minutes off the back end of that movie and shortened it,
I was a little shocked.
It would have been in my top 5, but it was a little too long for me.
I was surprised. I was kind of surprised it didn't make your top 5. So my bottom one is Ghosted with Chris Evans and
Ana de Armas.
Yes. It wasn't terrible. It was a mediocre movie that was kind of bad instead of, there's mediocre movies you're like, oh, that was really good. It wasn't amazing, but I really liked it. This was the opposite. It was mediocre, and I'm like, I kind of didn't like it. It was kind of cheesy and weird, and he's stalkerish. And
it was very predictable.
He followed her to another country. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, not in the good kind of way, like Penn Badgley and You. Like Penn is amazing at playing a creepy stalker guy, but this was not it. And then my next one was The Killer, which he wanted to watch. Oh gosh. Okay, so no, there's been a lot of times he's watched movies that I don't want to watch, and then I like it, but this was boring as heck. I don't have anything else to say except it was boring. And again, kind of felt like it was trying to be like You in the beginning. It was him talking, and it's his thoughts, like it's his inner monologue, just like in You when he's talking in his head to whoever he loves at the time. And it started off that way, but it was not. It was just not it. I fell asleep. So. That was my second worst.
Oh, okay.
My first worst is We Have a Ghost. I thought it was going to be a fun Halloween movie, funny comedy with a ghost, and it was just cheesy. Some of the acting was and the story went in a direction I didn't think it was going to. So it wasn't very good. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but it just
definitely is on the top. If you had like a top list of like 100 worst movies,
probably.
Yeah, they're probably on there too.
I was gonna say this real quick. When I was younger, me and my cousin would watch movies, and we started watching this pirate movie. It was that is the number one worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't even remember what it was called. It was like Zombie on Ghost Island. I don't know. It was dumb. Now you get to do your bottom 5.
I'm gonna do all my bottom 5.
Alright, you're on a timer. 2 minutes. Go!
Sheesh. So I had to make one change on this list, so I'm going to start with my number 5. I've rearranged one thing. Number 5 was You People. I don't know if did you watch that one?
No, I saw it, and it kind of interested me, but I don't know, I wasn't like...
I like Eddie Murphy. He's a great comedian. He does a really good job of acting as well. It also has Jonah Hill in it. It kind of has it plays a lot of tropes, I feel like, and honestly, I don't really care about the story. Was halfway interesting, but the acting was, with the exception of like Eddie Murphy, like honestly, every scene he's in this movie, he carries. But everything else just kind of fell flat for me. The jokes didn't really land, and honestly, I didn't remember anything that happened in that movie. It was just boring, honestly. Number 4 would be The Killer, which is also on your list as well. Michael Fassbender does a great job in the movie, and that's about the only positive thing. The first 15 minutes were actually pretty good. I was hooked in. He was kind of doing his monologue about like him trying to wait around and assassinate somebody, and then it kind of something happens. He misses and hits somebody else, and then they basically go and hire other people to take him out, and just does not work. They could have chopped maybe 30 minutes off this movie and maybe a little bit better. The pacing was just terrible. Action scenes weren't very good. But
I don't really remember. I don't remember a single action scene from that movie.
Yeah, they're very forgettable.
Yeah, I don't remember a climax of the movie. Maybe I fell asleep during it. But I do feel like it was kind of him humanizing again. Mm-hmm. Because he separates himself from being human because he kills people for a living. So he goes through his like rules of he's detached. So he's reminding himself to stay detached, and toward the end he lets someone survive. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's kind of, and I don't know, I feel like he kind of is showing more of his human side toward the end.
Yeah. And honestly, there's maybe one good scene that's kind of towards the end, which is at a restaurant with another assassin that was hired to beat him up and his family, or his girlfriend and him, take him out. That's another scene I can remember. Honestly, it was boring, too long, and pacing was just not good. So that's my number 4. So yeah, my number 3 is Ghosted, which is also on your list. It has Chris Evans and Ana de Armas in it. Man, you know how we were saying earlier about like Chris Hemsworth actually doing good in other roles? And I feel like that is like the exact opposite route that Chris Evans is going.
He hasn't found his thing.
He hasn't found his thing. And he does Captain America very well. By far the best Captain America. But he just, I don't know, he just hasn't found his niche.
He did well in, what was it, Knives Out? Was that the movie? With the family,
yeah,
and like someone dies, and
he plays like the asshole brother.
There's an inheritance. He did good in that one.
Yeah, he did good in that.
I like that movie.
The Gray Man too, he was also fairly okay in.
Oh yeah, he does really. Okay, for being Captain America, he plays a good villain.
Yeah,
I think
he does a pretty.
He does a good job at being like a, not even like a villain. Like he's not a typical nasty mean villain. He's like a
smart
jockey asshole kind of villain.
Yeah, and this movie does not do him any favors.
No, he didn't. He played kind of like a shy, like insecure guy.
Yeah, even though he's built like a brick shit house. Does not work for me, and the chemistry between him and Ana de Armas was not there.
Yeah.
She does a great job in the movie. I think probably is the best part of the movie personally, but the storyline.
I don't know. That's the second movie with her that we haven't liked.
She was also good in the other movie too, but the movie just sucked. Like she was by far the bright spot in that movie and in this movie too. The storyline is terrible. I don't really care. There's like one action scene I can remember that was actually decent, and it's at the end.
She was in our worst movie list last year. With that Ben Affleck in her movie. Yeah. Whatever it was called.
That movie with Ben Affleck is actually worse than this movie.
That's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's
worse than The Killer.
Dog shit. But this movie, it just kind of falls flat. It was hyped up as like a summer action movie on Apple TV, and it was not that. The CGI was terrible again. I notice these kinds of things because that's what I do. And the chemistry wasn't there. Pacing was kind of... Honestly, this pacing was a little much, I felt like, in some areas, and it was slow.
Subpar comedy.
Yeah, subpar comedy. It's an action comedy thing.
Like I said, mediocre, leaning towards bad.
Yes. So that would be my number 3. So my number 2 is The Machine, starring Bert Kreischer, the comedian. It basically is a movie based off the story that got him famous as a comedian and like his stand-up. And honestly, this movie was so bad.
Why is it called The Machine?
Because that's, if you know like his story that he tells when he's on stage, it involves something to do with Russia, and that's the nickname they give him, and stuff like that. And the movie just really...
You were excited for that.
I was excited for this movie because I like Bert Kreischer. It's kind of changed in the last couple months with him and a couple other comedians. It's just they're kind of souring on me personally, and the movie just did not do any favors. I think it just wasn't great. He's not a very strong actor. Supporting cast is like, Honestly, I didn't finish the movie. I made it maybe 15, 25 minutes in this movie, and I turned it off.
I'm glad I missed that one.
It was just so bad up front, and like I did not think the movie was gonna get... I don't normally turn movies off. I did turn this one off. It was just that nothing worked for me. It was just, jokes were dumb, and I just turned it off. So that's why it is number 2, is because it was just that bad. I actually just stopped watching it. So yeah, I just turned it off. I didn't even finish it. So, but this number 1 movie actually was probably, I wouldn't say it was most anticipating, but I was very much excited for, because I like the main character in this movie, or at least the actor who plays the main character, which is Adam Driver, which is the best part of the new Star Wars trilogy.
A man crush.
I wouldn't say that, but like, he's a good actor.
Yeah,
Kylo Ren was by far the best part of the Star Wars movies, of the new ones.
He's your man crush.
Okay. He's a good actor. He's a former Marine turned actor. And he does a lot of charity work with military personnel and acting, and I think that's really admirable, and I like that a lot.
That is still so... I forgot about that. It's so crazy to me.
What?
That he was a Marine and now he's a very famous actor. It's weird. You don't see that a lot.
No. But he does a great job. Unfortunately, in this movie, 65 is basically a concept of things that I really enjoy, which is space, like sci-fi, dinosaurs, because I play Ark a lot, and then like post-apocalyptic type thing. So basically, the movie, he's a space truck driver without the hat or the yeehaw, and he's transporting people from one planet to another, which takes time in this universe, which is kind of a cool concept in itself. And then something goes wrong, and he lands on a prehistoric Earth before the meteor drops, which we'll get to that in a second. And then,
Wait. So humans existed,
yes,
but not on Earth.
yes.
Huh. Okay.
Again, cool concept. I'm with it.
It sounds
listen.
cool.
I'm willing to dive in that rabbit hole with you if we're doing a sci-fi story. He crash lands on a planet with only one other survivor, and they have a language barrier because she doesn't speak the same language as he does, which I thought was cool too as well. And so they have to find a way to communicate, survive. They've located like a escape pod to get off the planet and all that stuff, but they don't know this planet. It's foreign to them. Come to find out, it's basically a prehistoric Earth. And as they're going to the escape pod, one of their scanners on the devices pick up an asteroid. So it's basically right as like the dinosaur is about to go extinct, they're trying to get off the planet, which is a cool concept as well. I just feel like the movie is way too long, pacing wise. Dialogue, not really there, honestly.
That sucks because it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, great concept, poor execution.
Space and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And what else?
Survival.
So like apocalypse space dinosaur.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they messed it up. I feel like I don't hate
Sounds
Adam
like
Driver.
Ark.
It does. Adam Driver does the best with what he has in this movie, but it's just still. I was really hyped for this movie, and this movie just let me down really hard. Unfortunately, hopefully eventually he does another sci-fi movie in the future, but I don't think they're gonna do another one of these. And that's why it is my number one, is because I was actually excited for this movie and he let me down.
Biggest letdown.
Yeah, basically. So, but that is my bottom 5. That is your bottom 3. Let us know in the comments what you think. If there's a movie we missed, please let us know.
Oh, there's movies we missed.
There's a lot. I will eventually see Avatar. Just probably not.
I still
right
need
now.
to see The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe.
What were your favorite? What were your least favorite?
Yeah.
What do you think of ours?
Yeah, let us know. If you want us to do more movie reviews, want us to do more like maybe TV show reviews. We are currently watching a few right now, like Reacher.
Oh, we're going to be watching The Last Thing He Told Me because I'm reading the book right now and I'm less than 100 pages away from finishing. And there's a show.
Yeah. I'm going to be forced to watch that. Hopefully it's not bad.
Hopefully. I think it's Jennifer Garner.
But let us know what you think. Comment down below. And we'll see you later.
Bye.